Hey Age of Empires fans, Star here with AoE TV, and we've got a very exciting video to go over with you guys. This is going to be for Age of Empires Definitive Edition, and it's basically going to be the new patch that's coming in sometime in July. I don't think we know an exact date just yet, but this news dropped about 2 to 3 days ago, by the time this video releases. But we just want to kind of go over it because there is a lot of stuff that we've been asking for, at least since I started playing 5 months ago. I know others have been asking for like the pathfinding to be fixed, stances, stuff like that to kind of help with the pathfinding for over a year. So this is one of the biggest updates we've had since I've been playing the game, at least, and frankly maybe since the game was released in 2018. So let's go ahead and hop into it. This is coming directly from, the ageofempires.com website. Alright guys, and today's music will be sponsored by Chill Mix. This one is called Serenity. Also Corona Extra, since it is summertime. Okay, so this is just going to basically be the highlights of the new build. The new stances. Again, I may help a little bit with the pathfinding. We'll see, but it's gonna come down to just kind of being like attack, stand ground, stuff like that. New and improved matchmaking lobby. We have a new chat shortcut. Excuse me. Mirrored civ picks and more. They're gonna reorganize ranked ladder maps and balance. And they're going to balance a couple of maps, units, and civilizations, reduce the end size, and hopefully improve some of the cheating, which is always a good thing. Alright guys, so looking into the new content and features, basically we're going to start with the new stances. We've got aggressive, defense, or defensive, stand ground, and no attack. Again, I think this may help with some things. I think it's mostly smaller stuff, but it's again something that Age of Empires 2 has had. I would even look into maybe formations, but I think this is definitely a great start and something that we should we should use when need be, when it's going to help you. All right, so moving on to Mirror Civilization. This is one we've been talking about for at least 2 months now. Again, it's in Age of Empires 2, etc. So this is one that is huge for balance. If you're playing, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, you kind of want to be on the same toe, especially if you're very close in skill level. You don't want to if you're close in skill level, you don't want to give anybody a huge advantage. And sometimes that's what you get when you just random. And then if you just pick the civs, it kind of ends up in this like back and forth game. So getting this is excellent, and I'm exceptionally happy about it. Okay, so we also got Solid Farm Legacy setting. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I think the farms are fairly good the way they are. But whatever, if you're coming from Boobly, Game Ranger, you may really enjoy this setting. As for new hotkeys, this one is huge. So we have a select all buildings of the same type. That may be massive for this game, because we would no longer have to control group our buildings. So we can only hold 32, in one group. And me and Hamza was playing the other night, and like sometimes when you're just doing show or just doing like Roman or Archer, you get so many that you can't just put them in one. You need like a 1 and a 2. And oftentimes, that's not a big deal. Like that's not a huge deal, because oftentimes we do that with like if you're a Syrian, you're probably going to go how I do it anyways is barracks are 1, the siege is 2, and then my stables would be 3. And then, town centers are kind of up to you. I do 5. Some people do 1. Some people do 4. Some people do 0. That's just whatever you're most comfortable with. Um, but the problem with that is it hurts really bad on the micro sense of the game. So being able to um, control units, very specific ones, typically like in StarCraft or Warcraft, you'd have like a 1, 2, 3, and those would be like your units. One may be your hero, or one may be the most important, most expensive unit. 2 maybe like everybody, or like something else, and 3 maybe like every single unit. So again, this may end up being huge for this game. I already know, even without this, seeing how this plays out in the final development form, just doing all select idle villagers and all military units, um, those 2 right there are huge. So if we get this third one and it's again, select all buildings, all barracks that you have in creation, um, that may be a kind of a game changer in the meta there. These 2 won't be meta game changers. They're just going to be kind of for the top 8, so to speak. The top players will definitely use these. So, alright guys, so moving on to multiplayer. This is basically just going to go over like the elo stuff. I think it's all good stuff here. Personally, I'm not ranked. I don't have any elo um, rating right now. It's something I've tried to work on, but I just really can't find the games or the time to do it. So, all in all, I think this is good stuff. The quick match and the regular ranked lobbies will now share the same elo. The quick match will be divided into 1, 2, 3, and 4. Also, the lobbies are no longer locked, which is really nice. So you can, I can go in for a 2v2, but if a couple people join, you maybe want to try for a 3v3 or something along those lines. It doesn't sound like much, but it was kind of a pain because you kind of had to pre-guess what you were going to have, so to speak. So again, just all around good stuff here to the multiplayer. Ranked games should no longer end up with unevenly disputed teams. I've heard this was an issue more of on the RM lines. So again, I think there's just good stuff here. Lobby chat can now be used with a scroll wheel. And then one of my favorites personally is going to be the countdown. Add a new countdown before the match begins. And then spectators can now see resources and the global queue for each player by using their numbers. So this is awesome. This is for casters, people that watch other people play. And again, just to, like, if you're watching somebody play, it's nice to know who has what at what point in time. Just to see where they're struggling, why they're struggling, so to speak. So that's probably one of my favorites. But the countdown clock is going to be very nice. Alright, so just kind of blazing through the rest of this. We've got game stability and performance fixes. Great, good stuff there. I'm happy to see it. Gameplay, fixed mechanic where spawn on the opposite side of the wall and next person. Okay, good stuff. Units will no longer be created from blocked buildings that have no valid space for the unit to spawn. That's nice. Military units will no longer lose their collision boxes or stack and merge together when grouped closely or forced into a tight space. That's what we've been missing. That's what allegedly keeps a bunch of players on the old Microsoft server. This is what makes our game non-competitive in any fashion, or in every fashion. Let's just say that. So getting that fixed is massive. I mean, just huge to be done with all the other stuff. I was not expecting this one, so happy to see this one. They're going to increase, due to this little tidbit here, they're going to increase the fire rate for the ballistas. It's still less than, I think, the original game. Using attack moves of priest will no longer inspire them to try and convert the enemy unit or whomever enemy units within their line of sight. This is awesome because I think there's a couple of different times where I've had priests in my group or ballistas or catapults, and they just don't work correctly, if that makes any sense. Sometimes you don't have a big fuss with it, sometimes you do, but, and I personally, I've had more of an issue with the siege, but I use siege more, so. Villagers will no longer automatically hunt the nearby elephant after gathering food from the first. That's good for RM players. Naval units will no longer get stuck in docks where they were created. Good. Left clicking and execute command will now work even when the cursor, or even when moving the cursor while clicking. So this one sounds really little, but just think of that. Like, left clicking, execute command will no longer, or will now work. It used to no longer work when moving the cursor and clicking. I think they make a little line out of that, but I think that's probably a massive, huge deal for all aspects of the game, RMDM. And then implemented global pathfinding improvements. Again, just sometimes they take very awkward paths. I think we're going to do a game over it, but I can't remember if I say that one or not. But regardless, all this stuff is just fantastic and phenomenal. Graphics, whatever, audio, whatever, UI, whatever. There's something like animated fog. I don't know. I turn all that stuff off. I play on fairly medium low settings with none of the bloom, black fog, whatever. So that's just how I play. I'd rather have performance over aesthetics. Alright, so we're going to hit up the general section, general civ balance here. Villagers move 10% faster in the tool age. The wheel technology grants 50% speed instead of 60% speed. Warship and slingers no longer deal a minimum of 1 damage. I think just good stuff here. Decrease the maximum search radius of prees to prevent them from fixating on and following distant injured units. Cool. Predator animals will no longer attack, or will no longer break off the attack if you drop a building in front of them. RM players definitely on that one. Not sure how y'all feel about that. Personally, I think you should be able to do that, but whatever. Because you can do it too, I think. Cataphract will now have 20% or 20 points HP, plus 1 pierce armor, plus 2 attack versus infantry for a total of 7. This is pretty huge. They're still very expensive, but this at least makes them somewhat useful in deathmatch and in longer, maybe not longer game, earlier game, I don't know. Maybe even longer game random maps in my opinion, just because they're also reducing the gold cost of the upgrade from 750 to 600, which is nice. The food cost still unchanged, it's fair. Domestication, food cost from 250 or 200 to 150. Heavy cavalry now have plus 1 attack to infantry for a total of 6. Nice. So again, everybody's just along that line. I guess probably not below that, but gets plus 1 attack versus infantry. Lawfulness increase the fire rate by 5%, still slower than the older original game. Increase the scout from 80 to 90 food, still lower than the 100 cost in the original game. Reduce their line of sight by 1 as well. The Scythe Chariot reduced armor from 2 to 1. Personally, I think that's fair. Increase the upgrade cost from 1200 to 800 wood gold to 1400 wood, 1000 gold. Scythe Chariot increase the time to research the unit from 150 to 200 seconds. So that's I don't know how I feel about that one, but that's the only one that I'm kind of like on. Chariot units no longer deal bonus damage to priests. Doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Reduce the conversion resistance of all chariots from 8x to 2x of that of normal units. Don't really think it's going to matter, in my opinion, whatever. Siegecraft reduce the attack bonus granted to villagers versus towers and walls by 50%. So that's going to kind of mean you can't just villager attack walls and stuff. Slinger increases training time to 28 seconds to 35 seconds. Slinger also reduced damage dealt to walls and towers by 50% or negative 50%. Towers increase the HP of all towers, including the watchtower by 25 hit points, sentry tower 35, guard tower by 40, and ballista by 40 as well. So that's nice in my opinion. I think the towers are a little weak in this game. Sometimes they're pretty strong. Silver units and technologies and trees, yada yada yada. The bowman increased its training time from 26 to 30. Coinage increased the gold, bonus gold from nodes from 10% to now 25%. So that's actually pretty huge. Camel Rider increased training time from 32 to reduced, so 32 to 30. That's nice. Elephant Archer, this one's kind of hurtful, but Elephant Archer reduced their attack damage from 6 to 5. And I think that's the original game right there, but I'm not sure. Alright guys, yeah, that pretty much wraps us up, but you can go through and look at the new civilization bonuses as well. Some of them were cut, some of them were, kind of added, and some of them were just adjusted. But definitely take a look at that, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.